So, I'm in an ongoing Twitter conversation with some prominent atheists. And lo and behold, Scott Clifton has entered the fray. Scott Clifton, yeah, Scott Clifton, the one and only. If you do not know who Scott Clifton is, he's a big-time Twitter atheist YouTuber. Once upon a time, I think he hasn't put out any videos in a long time, but his channel was, I think, probably the best YouTube atheist channel out there. Maybe that's a little much, but it was close. It was certainly in the top 10. And Scott, I'm relatively sure you do not remember me, but about 3 years ago, you and I were Twitter friends of a sort. There was a third guy, some guy with a MAGA hat, and you, me, and him, we were like Twitter buddies for about 3.5 months. This was before you started making it big in the soap opera you're in. And, you know, for about 3.5 months, 4 months, you, me, and him would talk almost every day on Twitter. Relatively certain you don't remember it at all, but I do. And so, Scott has joined the conversation, and he has tweeted a response to me that says what? It says exactly this. What you are calling experiential knowledge is actually propositional. You had some subjective experience, but then you made an inference about the world from that experience, which is propositional. Example, God revealed himself to me, or there's an elephant outside. Those aren't experiences. They are propositional beliefs which you inferred from some experience. But as a general rule, if you can put it into a sentence, it's propositional. And then there's the issue of whether that proposition is known or merely believed. Okay, fair enough. What I was only trying to show through all of those elephants outside, elephants in the parking lot type experiments, the only thing I was trying to make vivid, as much for myself as for any of you, to be perfectly honest with you, and I'm really glad that I did it because I learned a lot, and I'll show you in the video to come. The only thing I was trying to ferret out is that, keep in mind, okay, when I was 30 years old, I went to church, and as far as I am concerned, now you don't accept this, but as far as I am concerned, I discovered that God was real. Not, I went to church when I was 30, and from that point forward started pretending that I believed in God. As far as I'm concerned, I discovered God. So, I know you don't accept that or believe that, but what I was trying to establish from the thought experiments, okay, is that, let's change it from an elephant to a fire in the field. If I went and saw a fire in the field, and I came back to try to tell you about it, and we were separate from its reality, it'd be really, 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 really unbelievably hard for me to demonstrate to you in the moment, separate from, I guess, the qualia, as Paul would call it, separate from the experience itself, a direct experience of it. Be really hard for me to demonstrate it to you in the moment and make it real to you. I'd have to, like I said, take you by the hand, take you to the fire itself. Then you see with your own eyes. Now, with experiences like this, there's a couple of different things that are going on. First of all, in the conversations with you, I am chiseling out some of the essential facts of the experience that we can all agree are facts, which is really important to me in the future, even if I don't turn it into anything particularly useful right now. It's extraordinarily useful for me going forward. Keep in mind again, believe me, I think that I discovered God was real, and I had an actual experience, and I actually believe that I am qualified, call me crazy, to be able to tell the difference between a delusion and reality. So I actually think that there is a real experience that I will be able to demonstrate, maybe not to all of you, but most of you. Now, let's go back to the first video, because when I started this all off, I was trying to separate epistemology into 3 legs. And Scott, you might be right, I might be doing this in a way that's very jumbled. I have not been trained in any of this, I've not taken courses in it, I'm just trying to go off of, I'm just trying to go off a layman, basically. So maybe I'm jumbling it to a certain degree, but I'm establishing something that's going to be really useful for me, even if you can't quite see where I'm going. So, in the first video, I talked about what I call the sociology of epistemology, and I happen to think it's probably debatably the most important. So let's take two examples of the Twitter atheists I'm interacting with now. Deconverted Man and Paulogia. And let's say that their proposition in question is God exists. Sociology of epistemology means that God exists. They both have a different relationship to the proposition God exists. As I pointed out, and to you atheists at home, be like Paul. Honestly, be like Paul, and I'll explain why. Deconverted Man breaks out into hives at the proposition God exists. He starts going, quick, here's what I'm wrong. Here, wrong, here, wrong. Freaks out. Freaks out. Honestly, freaks out. What does that bespeak? It bespeaks a lot of things. First of all, lack of confidence in his position. But that's neither here nor there. If he were a scientist, would he be a good scientist? No. He wouldn't be able to trust himself. Why? Too much emotional investment in proving me wrong. Way too much emotional investment. In situations we are talking about processing evidence correctly, for example, a court of law, he would have to recuse himself. Why? Too much emotional investment. He cares too deeply. That I gotta be wrong, I gotta be wrong. It's too important to him that I'm wrong. That does not bespeak confidence in the validity of his own assessments of the evidence or any information presented. Paul, on the other hand, is the exact opposite. And that's why I used to call him the greatest atheist of all time. Maybe I'll still call him that. I'll still call him that. Paul's the exact opposite. You say, Paul, God exists. I'll tell you exactly what he'd do because he's been doing it the whole time. Maybe he tweets you back. You know, he's calm, he's cool, he's collected. He's Paul, yo, I'm Paul, man, what's up? I don't know if I got time for this bull crap, Craig. What you got for me? And I lay something down on him, and maybe he tweets me back 3 hours later. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he tweets me back 5 hours later. Maybe he doesn't. And there's only a couple of tweets in there. And he's not really charged up to prove me wrong. That bespeaks a lot more confidence in position. If I had to judge between those two, who is way more confident that I am mistaken, it's Paul. A lot more. But more importantly, his actual dispassionate demeanor bespeaks trustworthiness in terms of if I actually come up with a legitimate thought experiment or a legitimate proof of God, which is ultimately where I am tending to go with these, he would assess it honestly and deal with it honestly, and if it were true, validate it and go, yes, it's true, I accept it. Wise doesn't have a lot of emotional investment in me being wrong. He actually cares about what's true. Now, let's take an example from the real world. I happened to interview him on my YouTube channel, and I spent about 2 hours, at least. I think the chat is 2 hours long, and I went into details about his deconversion. Now, imagine if when he said, this is what Deconverted Man does, and this is what a lot of you atheists do. Do your own emotional, take your own temperature right now. Deconverted Man, I like you. I'm not trying to bust your chops. He's a good guy. He's fun. But that's what he does. That's true. That shows he's too emotionally invested. Now imagine when I was interviewing Paul, and he was going into details. Really big details about his deconversion. He goes, and that's the part where I first decided that God wasn't true. And I went, well, you know you're wrong, right? You know you're wrong. You know that that's not really how you should... And I just started interrupting him, trying to prove him wrong in the moment. First of all, the conversation would have gone nowhere. Second of all, it would have revealed nothing. I would have learned nothing from him. And it would have revealed a lot to you about me. You know, a lot of atheists come to my show and they trust me. Because in the 2 hours or whatever that they're telling me their story, I'm not trying to bust their chops. I make that really clear. I'm not trying to debate you. I'm just trying to learn about your position. So they start to open up and feel comfortable. But that bespeaks in me 150% confident in my own position. Like I said before, I believe me completely. And I also believe me, call me dumb, but that if I interact honestly enough and engage with most of you in ways that are completely and 100% honest, then that's 85% of the ball game right there. Because of the sociology of epistemology. I don't know if that completely made sense. But, barring that, so let's say I never ever turn this into this last 5 videos was extraordinarily valuable to me, the apologist. But keep in mind, this is my job, okay? I'm an apologist on YouTube. So this is what I'm trying to do. And I'm just trying a different approach. And I particularly think that this approach, however jumbled it may appear and confused it may appear temporarily, is actually really sharp. Actually, honest to God, really, 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 really honest to God intelligent. If I do say so myself. And I did. I really do. I really think I'm going somewhere with this, and I really think I'm going somewhere valuable and important. And as I point out in the video I'm about to post, I explain why. I've already learned a lot. I've already learned a lot. So the next time I'm in a YouTube conversation with a bunch of atheists who are just trying to bust my chops and discredit me, I'll be able to call bullshit on it almost immediately. Almost immediately. Within 15 minutes, I'll be able to at least stop the bull. At least do that. And it's my firmly committed belief that if I just stop the bull crap, the truth will come. And as I may have said in other videos, I might be wrong about some of the details of my God belief. That's fine. That's fine. You know, I might not have all the truth at my disposal. I guess that's all. I'll wrap it up for now. Yeah, I start to ramble in these videos. I know that. Yes, so, Scott Clifton. Yes, it's a little confused. And you're correct. You know, I honestly think I'm going somewhere. And I'm not really going somewhere, whereas in terms of trying to chisel out, you know, exactly the complete academic way to say everything correctly. That's not my agenda. I don't really care. I only care about serving the actual agenda, which is figuring out a way, either by thought experiment or by actual demonstrated reality, to take again, the experience that I believe 100% and make it real for somebody other than myself. Now, it's a high bar. Might not be able to do it. But it's the right approach. And this is what we do. This is what we do. I'm the Twitter apologist. You're the Twitter atheist. This is what we do, right? I mean, this is our interaction. This is what we're supposed to be doing. So, anywho, that is all for now, kids. The next video I post will sum it up, basically. From just these 5 videos, I've at least got a chiseled out argument, not quite for the existence of God, but I have a really, really strong argument, as I present in the other video, in the next video to come, for the, what do I call it? What did I call in that video? For the psychological utility of intrinsic religiosity. Case closed argument, as I believe, in the video that I'm about to post. So I'll post this video, I'll post that, and that'll probably be all. Oh, one last thing. Any of you 3, Scott Clifton, Paulogia, even you Deconverted man, but I don't want it to turn into just a shitstorm. Any of you 3 want to debate this publicly, I'm totally game. Anytime in September, we can set it up with modern day debate. We don't have to bother poor Shannon. Yes, poor Shannon. No, we don't have to lay it on Shannon's doorstep. Any of you 3 want to debate this publicly, I'm totally game. We can set it up anytime in September with modern day debate or October. I'm open. Not anytime. Anytime I'm available. Usually Wednesday, Fridays. So, that is all, kids. That is all she wrote. One last video on the subject, and then that will be all for the night. Thank you very much. Mass is ended. Go in peace. Amen.